Hello and welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and if you are new, thank you for visiting. My name is Scott McKenzie and I am the founder of Golden Age Companions, a non-medical home care agency based in Irvine, as well as a company called Home Care Agency Blueprint that is designed to help you start and scale your very own home care agency. Today I'm going to talk about the top 6 common mistakes that agency owners make when running their own home care agencies. So without further ado, we will dive in here. Here we are on the 6 common mistakes. These are 6 tips that I have created, and this also comes from experience. So I will just jump in here. Tip number 1, essentially these 6 things are, there's so many things when you're running a home care business, and just to be clear, these are the most common things that I've seen and have personally experienced in over a decade of running my own home care business. So this is kind of like, your future self speaking to you if you are looking to run your own home care agency, saying, look out for these things. I wish someone had told me ahead of time to look out for these roadblocks. We cannot be perfect running our businesses, and these are things that, I've been through all the good, the bad, and the ugly with running my own agency, and these are just really great things to consider to help you. You'll never, you can't be perfect in running the business, but these are just things that you could really look out for and make sure that you just put the proper things in place to mitigate risk. So tip 1 is strategic planning. And this is if you have a lack of a clear business model, if you're not sure exactly this is maybe when you're new entering the market as a home care agency, the structure of who you're really serving, what your clients are. I know that, for example, a non-medical home care agency, your clients are basically people that need home care. So these could be people with disabilities. They could also be elderly. Maybe you only focus on seniors or only focus on disabilities. And it's important to know your target market and then create a value proposition to target that target market. So if you have scattered efforts and you're just not really sure, or you're just maybe not even clear, you haven't even put it on paper, so to speak, then that could just cause just some lack of direction. And then this falls in line with inadequate market research. Be sure to do market research ahead of time. And I encourage you to look into things that you're most familiar with. For example, if you see and feel there's a need in your community for maybe people with disabilities that need care, and you even have connections linked to that, then maybe that's a better route to take. It could go on the same side with elderly and people in the home needing care. So doing the market research is really important. I know in my home care agency blueprint program, we teach you how to do that. In some of our packages, our team actually assists and helps you with the market research as well. Tip number 2, operational management. This is essentially if you have poor client management systems in place or no system at all, that really will cause issues. It may not in the first 4, 5, 6, 7 clients. It will as you get bigger. If you get bigger, it could also constrain your growth. So I know, working from Starbucks, I had started Golden Age Companions, and I had started putting these things in place as I got more clients. So I know when I got my very first client, that is when I decided to put a scheduling software in place immediately. I didn't put one in ahead of time because I didn't want to be paying for it, pre-paying for it. So, and then the communication, for example, Slack is a software that we use. We didn't need Slack until I had a team that was, multiple people running the office, and then we needed to have a better communication tool. So that's, you don't want to have dissatisfied clients, because then you're going to have people leaving your agency, or worse, filing bad ratings online and whatnot. So, that's one thing. And then inefficient resource allocation, that falls in line on the operations. This is really what you're spending your time and resources on. It's really prioritizing. So what is it that you're spending time on? Whether it's putting, the proper, say you're looking to hire a new case manager or a scheduler in the office, then there's allocation on time to do that. It's really looking at what the constraint is in your home care agency. If you see that there's an issue with maybe every time payroll is processed, there's, people that are having questions about their paycheck, or they're confused or whatever, maybe it's assigning, a better system in place that can handle the payroll where it's more clear. Maybe it's having monthly meetings with all of your caregivers that are like up to speed, up to date meetings on how, things are happening if your business is changing operations quickly. I mean, as you grow your home care business, you may be changing and refining things, and you want to be sure everybody is up on the same page. And so that comes with where you're spending your time. As a business owner, you want to be sure to not be spending too much time and money on people running your business, because then you're just gonna have more money going out when there's things that you can automate, and you don't need to be paying so many people to do all these different tasks. And you just want to make sure that wherever your time is spent is optimal. So like if people are running your business for you, then maybe you're the one out to market and bring in the new clients. Yeah, it's just as you grow, you will be able to know what that is. You'll know what the constraints are, but it's important to ask yourself and do check-ins periodically. Tip number 3, financial oversight. Underestimating operating costs, what your licensing, your insurance is, what your staff is, that definitely can add issues. Now that falls in line with inadequate cash flow management. So if there's money, say you're getting all these checks in and money's coming in from clients, and you feel like, okay, I'm bringing in all this revenue, and you're spending it, especially if you're using it for personal expenses, being the owner, depending on how you're structured. Either if you're getting a W-2 paycheck, that's the cleanest way to do it, where you're paying yourself a salary. If you're doing like owner's draw and you're drawing more money from the business than you should be, then that will cause issues later on paying all of your other softwares and office staff, etc., like that. So it's important. I mean, for example, like if I'll just say for layman's terms, if you get a $3,000 check-in in 1 week from a client that you provided full-time care for, it's not like you're making $3,000. That's the revenue, right? So really, depending on how that's structured, whether you're paying the caregiver $15 an hour and you're charging the client $30, there's a 50% margin. So essentially 50%, so $1,500 of that is gross profit, but then you still got to deduct payroll taxes, workers' comp, and insurances. That's kind of all built in. As you get more clients though, the costs of workers' comp, payroll taxes, really your insurance, your professional and general liability insurance decreases. So, but everything else kind of goes up in a straight line because it's all based on a percentage. Your workers' comp and payroll taxes across the board are basically 20% of payroll. So if you just take 20% of $1,500 and add on top of that, your total is that number minus $3,000, and then that's more like what your net profit would be. So it's just managing your cash flows is important. And then tip number 4, marketing and client relations. Making, when you're neglecting any customer feedback, or you're not getting feedback at all, or maybe you are getting feedback and you're taking things personal, that's no go. That's not good to do that. So make sure that you're getting feedback and asking the questions, doing check-ins, whether it's you or your case manager, that you are calling the families and doing a check-in to see how things are going. Not all the time will families say that there's an issue until it's really like bugging them, or it's like a major issue. For example, if your caregiver Sandy misses a shift or doesn't show up once, they might not really care that much. They might say it's fine. And then twice, they might still kind of say, well, this is an inconvenience, but it's fine. And then say that she starts becoming late, and they still say, well, frustrated, but it is what it is. That's not like, to just allow that to just continue to go is an issue. You got to talk to that caregiver right away to replace them or adjust their process to where they're actually, give them a written, either a verbal or written, like a write-up, to make sure that they are in line with actually providing quality care. Because I've had this experience where families say things are fine, and if it doesn't trickle to you as a business owner and you are relying on a staffing coordinator to take care of this, and they're hearing the client say it's fine, but they're not picking up on they might still be frustrated, that family could be calling other agencies and shopping around. And then all of a sudden you're going to get a call saying, oh, well, we just canceled service, or this family canceled service. We don't know why. They just don't need us anymore. And that's where you got it. So you can see how you can mitigate this stuff ahead of time. So it's really important to consider that. But it's super simple. Just get the feedback, make sure that you're hands-on, and just make sure you have some process in place. And the families are really happy, and then you retain them. I mean, we've had clients for 8-9 years, so we've been able to retain some of our clients a very long time. Ineffective marketing strategy, that's like the other subpart here. That is essentially if you are not really going to the areas where you will get client referrals, or you're spending too much time at luncheons and events that are not, adding value and driving referrals. So it's important to refine that and make sure that you're marketing properly to be able to drive referrals, and even maybe look at refining your SEO online for your website, your Google My Business, things like that. It's important to look into that as well. Tip number 5 is human resources. So if you do not have proper staff training, or you're neglecting training, that'll lead to poor, service quality and legal issues. Even if you have a staffing coordinator that is telling off your caregivers, and if your caregiver is upset about something and your staffing coordinator is maybe has a short temper and gets frustrated and says something to your staff, that could cause problems, and it could cause major issues. So it's important to hear, I cannot emphasize enough, communication is so important. Be sure to hear people out. Make sure that your employees, your office staff, if you have a meeting, say once a week, what happened this week? What can we improve upon? What are the wins? Celebrate the wins. Celebrate the good things going on. Energize that, and then adjust the things that maybe issues that are showing up to handle. So that's really important. The staff training, even I highly recommend being sure to have whether it's a VoIP system, we use Dialpad, but like something that you could have the calls all recorded, and then do an audit, listen to the phone calls, hear how your staff is talking to your caregivers. So vice versa to the families. It's good to just hear that out. And then if you've got to do training hands-on and say, okay, we're going to call some caregivers, and you can just make some adjustments with your staffing coordinator if that's the problem, if they're having issues speaking or talking to the caregivers. Now, the other thing that I go even deeper with that is like identifying and I'm just using this as an example. There's so many other things that could be happening on inadequate training, but if it's, for example, a staffing coordinator that's disgruntled, or they're like upset or short-tempered, it's one of two things. They're either just not a fit for the job, it's just not the best hire, or maybe there's something going on in their personal life that they're not sharing, and maybe it's taking them to lunch and just having a good quality conversation with them and really just get them on the same page. We're all humans, we're all people, we all want to be nice, we all want to make sure that we want to feel good, we want others to feel good. No one wants to make people feel bad. So it's like, if there's that stuff happening, drama in the agency, it's you as a leader, as a business owner, it's really important to look into that and take charge and have those meetings and be hands-on. So that's there. Failing to build positive workplace culture, that kind of goes same in line with that. Having weekly meetings, letting your staff know that you super appreciate them, and that you're not neglecting them, you're hearing them out. A lot of times it's not just giving bonuses or whatever to your staff or caregivers. Oftentimes they just want to be heard out. They just want to know that there's someone there to hear what they're doing. I mean, In this business, like, you got to remember, your caregivers are your lifeline for your home care agency, and if they're upset and they're out there, they're basically on the front lines, right? So you want to make sure that, like, they're handling sometimes tough cases. They're dealing with people that are terminally ill, and just even a phone call to tell them how much you appreciate them and thank you for taking so, like, good care of our family and whatnot. It goes a long way. So that's that. There's more tips in there, but in my course I cover all of this stuff in, like, way more detail, but I just kind of want to make this video concise today. And then tip number 6, compliance and legal issues. This is obvious. If you have inadequate insurance coverage, or you're ignoring, you don't have your regulatory requirements, your licenses or business license or anything are not, like, up to date or expired or whatever, you can have a just major issues. So that's obvious. I feel like I don't need to go into that. That's an obvious thing. Same thing with the insurance, just making sure that you have all of that coverage and everything is set up. And yeah, that's essentially the 6 tips that I wanted to go over today. Alrighty, so those are the 6 tips, that the common mistakes that home care agency owners may make when running a home care business. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this video if you feel like you're getting value out of it, as well as there is a link in my description below that has a consultation link, so you can feel free to book a one-on-one call with me if you'd like to start up your own home care business with Home Care Agency Blueprint. It is not a franchise. It's a separate company that is geared to coaching you on how to start and scale your own home care business. So if you'd like to book a call with me, I'm also doing webinars. At this time in March, I'm doing webinars every Friday, and also we'll be starting up some Facebook Lives, so be looking out for those. I'll see you guys in the next video.